I hear you've been invited to train with legend Isaiah White himself. Care to elaborate?
I want to be the GOAT.
What's up, guys? Today we're talking about Him, directed by Justin Tipping, with a script by Zack Akers, Skip, Bronkie, and Justin Tipping. Tyriq Withers plays Cam, a football athlete on the rise who suffers a mysterious head injury right as he's about to try out for the big leagues. Struggling to keep it together, Cam is given a second chance at glory by the legendary Isaiah White, Marlon Wayans, training as successor to the iconic quarterback for the Saviors football team. Before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and drop a spoiler warning. So now is your chance to pause this video, go watch Him, and then come back and let me tell you how to feel about it. Now, hut! Him is a movie with a fascinating premise. With Jordan Peele attached as producer, it seemed like the sign-off of the century with an even stronger ad campaign. That first trailer really got me. Him had so much rich text to mine from: the history of the NFL, football and its players, and the violence underneath the helmets and uniforms. Brain damage, sports celebrity idolatry, toxic masculinity, wealth disparity between players and team owners, slavery. There was literally so much they could do with this.
On Sunday, I see slavery all over again. The Negroes in the field picking cotton with a ball, and the white folks sitting on the bench with a clipboard trying to act intelligent. Are you crazy?
Him is a beautiful looking movie. None of its visuals are often in service of the story it's trying to tell, but it looks good in the way you might stretch out a 3-minute music video to feature length. Cinematographer Kira Kelly does excellent work, and though the imagery wanted to be instantly iconic and harrowing, it isn't, because the movie doesn't have a solid script, an important foundation to build imagery upon. Where it really gets lost is the editing, and I still can't wrap my head around them putting some cheap earthquake filter on the final bout between Cam and Isaiah. Why did that go on for so long? I wonder if it caused anyone to puke in the theater. The acting performances are mostly great. Tim Heidecker was fun to see show up, but the lines they had him read felt cringeworthy at times. He may be the only person who really understood the movie, along with a particularly zany and always game Julia Fox, adding a touch of humor missing from the other actors' performances. That's kind of the missing link too. I'm not sure Justin Tipping knew what he wanted this movie to feel like, and seeing that there were multiple writers, while not always an indication of a troubled movie, did worry me at the start. Tyriq Withers as Cam isn't given much to say, mostly just looking contemplative or lachrymose on screen, but his natural charisma shines through. He's great on camera, and if given a better script, would have been dynamite. Though the way he basically non-reacts to the weird and crazy things happening around him, it's odd, and not in a good or believable way. Marlon Wayans is a standout as well, but the tone is weird. He's such a gifted actor. His ability to morph himself on screen into varying versions of Isaiah is staggering. That sort of manic genius vibe mixed with subtle, understated evil. It just kind of felt like he didn't know exactly what kind of movie he was in, but something didn't hit the way it should have. All of this, unfortunately, boils down to the direction and writing. I did really enjoy the sound design and sound mix, though there was far too much licensed music for my taste. The Lemonade Gucci Mane noodle drop was fire, though. Bobby Krilic, who worked on Eddington and Beau is Afraid, does good work with the film score as well. It's all very cinematic. The intro had so much promise. Cam's father subjecting him to such visceral violence at a young age and highlighting how soon children are introduced to violence by way of sports to completely disregard their health and longevity for fame and fortune. I really liked that, but quickly it loses its thread because no one seemed to have a through line of where they wanted this thing to go. I don't really want to go in on the creative team too much because I do believe in my soul that they wanted to make a great movie here, but that is where I see all my issues with this movie. Things happen, and you know they should feel big, but they don't. And then there are clear payoff moments that also do not feel earned or fun or cathartic in the way that they would in a movie like Get Out or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You need established evil and stakes to make a good horror movie or even a thriller. The biggest fumble for me is that it all hinged on a cult, which was so glaringly obvious to make a plot device because, well, sports culture is cultish. But instead of leaning into the obviousness in an interesting or winking way, it chooses to just take as many easy, low-hanging bits. Cam's headscar looks like the weaving on a football. In the finale, the rich football leaders wear literal pigskins when Cam joins their ceremony to take on the mantle of Isaiah White. It's hack. Another review for this movie struck a chord and got me thinking. The movie really does feel like Argento's Suspiria. There's a lack of cohesion and groundedness, and the actors act in ways that don't make sense. It feels dreamy, but not in a good way. In Him, there's no real reasoning offered to the audience, whether direct or subtle. And bear in mind, I do not need a reason for people to act crazy in a horror movie, but I do need a movie to smartly direct the audience. Him doesn't do that in the way Argento did in Suspiria. Him does carry some of its hallmarks, style over substance. The story of Suspiria is quite simple and similar. A woman happens upon a witch coven when trying to become a professional and hopefully celebrated ballerina. But then things start to go haywire and the giallo blood begins to spill. Like in my review for Oz Perkins's The Monkey, I discussed that while not a perfect movie, it will ultimately find a cult following now or in 20 years for its blunt humor in the face of, well, death. Him, due to its, well, this seems like it should be good vibe, kind of like Megalopolis, but less interesting, which is a weird thing to even say out loud, is also capable of finding an audience too. And it's because it carries all the hallmarks of a classic horror movie with its satanic and Christian iconography and imagery, the startlingly weird color palette and dialogue acting choices, and the fact it just feels like it was made by an alien who watched more 1960s giallo and 80s horror, ran all that through a blender, and popped modern cameras and lights on it. This could be a bunk call, who knows? What really makes a film your favorite, or a cult classic even? There's a lot of people who love bad movies, like they are moved by movies that a lot of people do not agree are good. But what's good or bad? If you love something and find something to resonate with in him, all the better. This is what I love about movies. I hold a small yet strong place in my heart for Rob Zombie films, and most people take dumps all over his filmography. And yet, I find his vision and creativity exciting, while accepting the flaws face value. Him may find an audience with a similar mindset. And so, that means that you can go into this movie and take it in for yourself. While I only resonated with the visuals and acting performances, you may find something to connect to. And if a movie can do that, it's done its job. I only wish that him had reined in its influences and message a bit more, and instead of being so on the surface, it would have leaned into themes and metaphors that were fleshed out and interesting. But I will give it credit. It did give me a lot to talk about. What did you think of him? Were you won over by its own unique thing? Tyriq Withers is pretty hot. Or was it boring and tonally bonkers and just all over the place? Leave all the comments below, and before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. Until next time, peace out, my fellow goats.